Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Leslie Askelainen, and I'm going to be your host. So we just had our festival and it was amazing, but we are already gearing up for next year's festival. It's going to be August 25th and 26th in Turku. We don't know as yet if it's going to be on-site or virtual, but we are staying positive, and of course we want to be safe, so we will keep everybody updated on that. But we do have a promotion going right now. Tickets are 2 for 1. So you get access to the 2 days of the event for the price of 289 euros. So if you want to jump on over to our website, you can grab those tickets there. If you are new to Shift, Shift focuses on future's new technology and sustainability. And this ties in perfectly with today's webinar on bioeconomy. This is our last webinar today in our series, and it's sure to be a great one because we are discussing bioeconomy for climate change mitigation and how developments in circular economy and bioeconomy are heavily dependent on the development of materials from waste streams. And just one more thing before I introduce our first speaker, we do have a chat box, and if you scroll to the bottom of your screen, you will see it there, and you can click on that and you'll be able to submit questions if you have any feedback, and we can watch those questions and ask the speakers when we have a Q&A after they speak. And if you have no questions, that's fine. You can just put a happy emoji there or a Christmas emoji. First of all, I would like to introduce Linda Fröberg-Niemi. She is the head of Clean Turku cluster in Turku Science Park, and they help lead the way and elevate companies offering novel solutions to bio and circular economies. So please welcome Linda.
Thank you, and good morning to everyone behind your screens. So my name is Linda. Thank you for the introduction, and I come from Turku Science Park. We are roughly 55 people there working with the business development of companies in Turku business region. And we have 5 spearhead clusters in the region from which we expect economic growth and new business solutions. And one of them is the Clean cluster, and I'm the head of the Clean cluster. And today in my talk, I will give you a glimpse on what we do and what kind of businesses are rising up from bioeconomy and circular economy. So what we do there in the Clean team is that we, with different means, we boost the business development of new businesses within bio and circular economy ecosystems. And in order to succeed in this, we need to enhance the collaboration between the public sector, the companies, the business, and then also the academia. Because what our societies is in front of today is a systemic change, and we really need all of these parties to collaborate on these topics in order to come forward with solutions. And here you see the 3 topics: circular economy, bioeconomy, and clean tech. These are all really relevant topics, both on EU level, in Finland, and also in our region. And the major drivers that are aligned with these themes arise from the overconsumption of our virgin raw materials on global level, also the growing demand for decreasing the use of fossil raw materials, and all of these coupled with population growth and land decrease, and that give rise to climate changes. And today we will focus on circular bioeconomy and why it is a powerful tool for climate change mitigation. And when in my role, I look at it from the business perspective and also from EU and on national level, and we see that this is very critical topic when we think about the European industry and the transition from a fossil-based industry to industry that is sustainable using renewable raw materials. So why are we in this situation now? And what is the root cause to the challenges that we are facing today on global level? It's our lifestyles. The consumption by wealthy households is the reason for the largest human impact on climate change today. So what we need to tackle is, of course, the consumer behavior, but at the same time, we are in a critical need of technologies that enable our industries to produce more sustainable products and services for the consumers. Our economy is today built on a haste and waste principle. And to concretize how the human consumption levels are affecting our globe, a day has been determined that is called the Earth Overshoot Day, and that's one day each year. And this day is the day when our demand for resources exceeds the resources that the Earth can produce for us. And by the numbers that are collected for this day, we know that we would today need 1.7 globes to assure us with the resources that we need for the life that we are spending today. And that's not sustainable. We all know that. So we need to have some solutions to that. Then, what is the coupling between the consumption and the greenhouse gases and the climate change? We are often in the media hearing about these things in from different perspectives, but how are they related? We are often talking about that traffic and transportation are one of the main reasons for the greenhouse gases and climate change. And that's, of course, one of the reasons, as we can see here in the red box. But even a larger part comes from process industry, producing the goods that we need every day in our daily lives. And also from energy supply. We need energy for electrification, especially now when the societies are going through digitalization, and we want to have them the digitalization even broader in our societies, but also for heating and other energy supply. And then, of course, from using biomasses from forestry or land to food and material production. So the largest greenhouse gases supplies, they come from also other sectors than traffic and transportation. That's the main message with this. And that's also the reason why we, in my presentation today, dig deeper into the materials and why we need to have the materials in circulation and need to know how we better can reuse the waste materials. Because an estimation of 67% of the greenhouse gases come from relations with material processing for producing goods to our daily lives, but only 9% of these materials are reused. And EU has defined that circular economy will be the way that we are trying to meet up with the challenges with the material flows. So we are looking at new circular business models, recirculation of materials, and a greater material efficiency. We want to have a higher value on the products that we produce with a certain material, raw material. And that will bring the European economy to a more sustainable industry-based economy. This figure is very familiar for many of us. It's from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, a schematic drawing of circular economy showing that instead of taking materials, making a product of it, and then landfilling it, we will keep the material in the economic flow for longer. We have both the biological cycle and the technical cycle, and these need to play together. Today, we are taking a deeper look at the biological cycle, so the biomass or biomaterial that is produced with a high value and then kept in the economic loop for longer. One example here why it's so crucial to talk about the circular economy instead of only recycling is that recycling is of course important. It's about collecting material that is left over, but then making a profit out of the waste material, making it valuable is a different story. We see here a t-shirt. If it's made out of cotton, it's really important to keep the cotton, the biological cycle, separate from the technical, where we, for example, can have a plastic material. And we want to have the plastic material after use, again, processed to become a new raw material for a new technical cycle. Today, we are very often mixing these two cycles together to make a hybrid product. For example, a t-shirt mixed with cotton and plastic. And that's more about downcycling. Then we are making it very difficult also to reuse the material when the product has come to an end of its life. So companies in the society, decision makers, we need to think about the two different cycles, and even from the design, starting from the design and ending up with a recirculation of the raw material. Shortly about this figure, it's here to show that we need to of course, using biomass. It's today used for gasoline, for fuels, but we need to head up for higher value products to make new textiles for the textile industry from wood-based material, for example, or medicine. So we need to keep the pace up and develop technologies for higher value products. About circular economy, it's much about business models. It's also about thinking and consumer behavior, and about the systemic change in our society. Here you see the same dress worn again. That's one of the models. But then in circular economy, all the products, they are designed for use, not as in linear economy where the products are designed for selling. And when they are designed for use, we want to use the same product for several customers. And at the end of life, this dress will then, the fibers from it will be used for a new textile product. For this to be successful, we need to invest in technologies that enable the materials to circulate in loops. That's easier said than done. And those who usually know how to do this are chemists or scientists. We need to invest in deep tech science, in material science, chemistry, physics, biotech. These are the people, the persons who know how to break down a material on molecular level and then again build it up to a new valuable product. So we are talking about process industry startups or growth companies. And in Turku region, we have founded the Smart Chemistry Park to support the business growth of these kind of companies. Here we offer the companies facilities, laboratories, some facilities for piloting, and then we hope that we can support them also for industrial scale production, hopefully in Finland, but also abroad. And it is only when scaling up a new technology, a more sustainable technology to industrial scale, that we can lower the CO2 emissions and greenhouse gases that our industry produces every year. And that's one really efficient way for climate change mitigation. And we have a lot of know-how here in the region, and a lot of know-how both on the academic side and in the business side. And I'm very happy that one of the companies from Smart Chemistry Park will give a presentation here after me. They are a forerunner company, and we are very proud that they have come so far in their growth path. Thank you.
Okay. all masked up and ready to go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Linda. It really struck me that it's quite a complex problem, but one thing that I noticed was that it seems like the need for chemists at a base level is really where it all starts. Maybe you could expound on that just a little bit more?
Yes, because at the moment on global level, we are landfilling a lot of material that we have a difficulty to use again if somebody hasn't processed it, to made extracted all the harmful ingredients and materials from it to make it safe again for somebody else to use. And for that we need very efficient separation techniques. We also need both on mechanical level, but then also on chemical level. So to process the material both mechanically and then by chemical methods. And many companies today are investing in chem cycling, and that means that they are not satisfied only with the material as it comes, because they see that by chemistry you can break it down to new building blocks for a new purpose also.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. Okay, great. Would you be able to maybe highlight the technology needed to achieve a more circular bioeconomy?
So first of all, we need different deep technologies. We will also need a combination of different know-hows. So the material technologies for material handling, but also digitalization to know where the material is moving, is the loop really closed, and to follow up, to keep also the data circulating, and then the energy. So circular economy is much about having material, energy, and data circulating.
Okay, yeah, no, that totally makes sense. You know, if the logic of a circular economy is so compelling, why aren't more companies doing it?
It's in a way still quite a new thing that we are doing on societal level. It's not that easy either. You need to invest in research, development, and innovation. You need to collaborate and form ecosystems with different companies that collaborate together. You cannot do this yourself, because we are talking about the entire value chain of actors that need to play together. So that's also why we need both the public side and the academic together here to bring forward these teams like bioeconomy and circular economy.
Right. Well, big problems, but sounds like you guys are doing an amazing job. So thank you, Linda. Thank you so much for sharing with us here. Okay, so we had Linda here from Turku Science Park sort of presenting the problem, and now I'm going to be introducing Lari Vähäsalo, and he is from CH-Bioforce, and he's going to be sort of discussing the solution. So please welcome Lari. Oh, and one more thing about the chat box. We just got a message that if you can just choose all attendees, select that at the bottom, all attendees and panelists, when you're leaving a message, that way everybody can see the message. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie, for the nice introduction. My name is Lari Vähäsalo, and I'm the R&D director and co-founder of our company CH-Bioforce. And we are in the heart of bioeconomy in general and also in circular economy. Regarding the question about companies investing in more in circular economy and bioeconomy, I can fairly answer that many of the large players in the world are already investing in sustainability programs, and I can actually give you a good example of that one in my presentation. Let's get the presentation going. So we all know that the world is drowning in waste, especially in unsustainable fossil-based materials. But there's also problems with our textile industry regarding that almost all of our clothes are containing oil products and which are not sustainably produced. If you take, for example, cotton, it takes up to 20,000 liters of water to produce 1 kilogram of cotton, and that's quite a bit. And if you think about the paper industry, the pulping industry, more than half of the materials being burned up and not utilized as biomaterials, which could be converted into user products. So what is the solution? Here we have the traditional way of producing cellulose, where both the hemicellulose, which is approximately 25 to 30% of any biomass in the world, is burned up, and also the lignin, which could be utilized, is being burned up for energy. Only the cellulose comes out from these pulp mills. So what we do in our company is that we take 100% of the biomass and fractionate it into biopolymers. So we produce not only the cellulose, but also the hemicellulose and the lignin in very pure form. And actually we can utilize almost any kind of biomass. So it's not only wood-based, especially straw and all sorts of other co-products from existing industries can be utilized in our process. If we take, for example, the hemicellulose, where can that be used? One easy solution is to replace starch products which are used in technical applications so that the starch could be used to feed people. The lignin, it's a very nice molecule which can be valorized to replace fossil products and oil products, especially in glues and all sorts of other materials. And of course, if we utilize a innovative technology like the Spinova's method of converting cellulose fibers into textiles, we don't need to use the harsh chemicals that are traditionally used in the viscose process, for example. Just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, if we take in India, in the New Delhi region, so there's 50 million tons of rice straw being burnt every year, which is more or less the reason why they have all the smog problems in the region. With our technology, we could take that cellulose and valorize it into textile fibers, which would correspond to 50% of the world's cotton production. And the 1% of the cotton market is already 700 million euros worth. So the scales we're talking about are humongous. And also we would then get the hemicellulose and the lignin to be valorized into user products. So I would say that the possibilities are endless in this market. One of our companies or customers that we worked with was ABBev. That's the world's largest brewing company, with brand names like Corona and Budweiser and Beck's especially. What they do, they brew beer, but they also have a lot of co-products. So they've got the brewer's spent grain, for example, from the glucose production, which is more or less being wasted at the moment, and also the straw, which is often left on the fields. So what we did with them is that we wanted to see what we can actually do with these co-products or let's say waste products. So we could actually take the brewer's spent grain, for example, extract out the hemicelluloses, which could be a dietary fiber and a food product, but also could be used in technical applications. The cellulose we could convert into textiles and apparel, and also we could take, for example, the lignin and also the hemicelluloses and use them in their cardboard boxes. So then the circularity of their industry and business would be much, much enhanced. What we actually did, we took barley straw and extracted out the hemicelluloses and the lignin. And after that, we took the cellulose, converted into nanocellulose, which is a neat product in itself in many applications. And that was then converted into staple fiber by Spinova, which was then made into yarn and fabric. And we produced this very neat and nice laptop bag for users to be used for. The lignin, that, as I said, can be used in many applications. We do a lot of R&D work and research work with universities, etc. But the lignin we have extracted out from, whether it to be barley straw or birch wood or whatever type of biomass, we can convert that into phenol resins, for example, in plywood, which is a very usable area and very large market in general. But also we can do 3D printing filaments from the lignin and replace, for example, polylactic acid, which is made of sugar in normal terms. If we take the hemicellulose, what can that be used for? Well, for example, emulsifiers. In technical paints, for example, we've got a lot of alkyd resin or alkyd oil type of paints in the world that use emulsifiers to keep the fat droplets, in a sense, in the water phase. But also in applications like food products, there's a lot of emulsifiers that are used in foods. And the hemicelluloses work splendidly there because they can really emulsify fat droplets into water. And if we take, for example, the hemicelluloses, what can we do with those? Well, we've done, for example, barrier films from there. Flexible films that can be used in your hamburger wrappings or in food products and all sorts of applications. And considering that the hemicelluloses are being burned up around the world as we speak, this is a great opportunity for all of us. Then we've done actually something very neat. We've been able to produce these so-called xylane nanocrystals, both from birch wood and also from straw. And this is quite important because it's both a nanoparticle that can be used in the same sense as cellulose nanocrystals, which is a very high value product. The price could be up to 20 euros per kilogram, for example. But it's also a purification method that we can utilize it. If we want to make sweeteners from the xylose, we want to as pure xylane products in that case as possible. And if we really think about the possibilities here, for example, from the barley straw, if we take 10 million tons of straw and convert that into user products, not only would the value chain gain a lot of incomes, but for example, the farmers would gain at least 100 million euros more of income. Instead of just selling the grain, they would also be selling the straw. But on the other hand, if we take the lignin from there, it would be 900 million euros worth of replacing oil products. If we convert the hemicelluloses into starch replacers, it would be worth 1.5 billion euros. And if we take all the cellulose and convert that into textile, the fabric price would be approximately 15 billion euros. So the possibilities are endless here. And at the same time, we would also reduce the amount of CO2s being put into the air by 15 million tons, which is approximately 3 million cars driving around throughout the year. At the moment, we have in the Raisio Smart Chemistry Park a fully functional small-scale plant where we can produce in pilot scale approximately 500 kilograms per day or 10 tons per year process biomass, convert them into hemicellulose, lignin, and cellulose. Our aim is that by 2022, we would have a, let's say, mid-scale pilot plant or demonstration plant up and running in Raisio, which would have a capacity of approximately 45 million euros. But as you can see, the capital expenditures in this chemical industry are not small. So, for example, this 45,000 ton mill would cost approximately somewhere between, well, above 30 million euros in general. So we need investment funds. But of course, our actual goal is that there would be a fleet of large-scale plant from 100,000 tons to 300,000 tons per year, several of them converting the waste from fields and from other processes into valuable user products. Our company at the moment, we are approximately 10 people working at CH-Bioforce, mainly in Raisio's Smart Chemistry Park. We're a mix of experts from different fields. What's combining our ambitions and our work is that we all love chemistry in general. We also work together with engineering companies, with patent agencies, which is extremely important in this business to have a good IPR plan, and also different types of companies, customers, large and smaller, and also research institutes and universities around the world. At the moment, we have been funding our work or actions through private fundings, but also from Business Finland. We have had several projects, and one extremely large project that we got from the SME fund from EU, which started in 2019. So let's build a bright future for everyone. Cheers.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you. That was very insightful. Appreciate it. Yeah, really interesting. We actually have a question from the audience. Which countries or companies are forerunners in circular economy?
In circular economy, of course, let's say large companies, as I said, like ABBev, these are extraordinary players because they have their sustainability programs and they're really pushing with finance and all sorts of means to get the best technologies to valorize their, let's say, co-product or waste streams, as they call them. But of course, I mean, there are Lego, for example, they're already now putting in lignin in their Lego pieces.
Okay.
And also many other large companies, which actually you can't see it in everyday life, actually, because many times the circularity and the sustainability issues are kind of like embedded in the products, which they don't, let's say, market probably enough for the main public.
Got to get that marketing going because that's amazing. How would you convince other businesses to invest in circular economy?
Convince. The interesting thing here is actually that many organizations have already started, as I said, their sustainability programs. But the problem is that they're not ready yet. So they're still seeking for the optimal because they want to make revenue. Let's say the end game here is that the customers will at some point decide whether or not the products that are using or buying, if they will be, if they're circular enough or sustainably enough produced, and stop buying stuff that doesn't work. But it's a let's say grooming industry and let's say practice in general. Of course, if you go to the third world, the main problem there is that they simply don't have the, let's say, finances to buy the circularly produced, slightly more expensive product. And that's the main problem in this space in general. So we have to start from the Western world and, let's say, bit by bit grow the market so that, let's say, the price of the produced products, even if they're sustainable, will also be affordable.
So it sounds like, the consumer has a lot of responsibility, as we
Absolutely.
know. At the same time, the companies have responsibility too to sort of dictate what's even available for the market. Which one would you say that the responsibility is equal, or which one is weighed more?
I would say that the companies, they have the final say in the issue. For example, one of our customers, if their customers or if their sustainability program would, let's say, dictate that they have to have a product that contains, for example, 30% of a recycled material instead of virgin fiber, for example, in a cardboard or something. They can go to the cardboard producer and say that, here, you put 30% of something that is recycled in this product. Otherwise, we don't buy it.
Right.
And the industry will follow.
Right. But as consumers, again,
it is the consumer,
choosing, choosing what we buy. Why do you think Finland has been able to gain such a front-runner place in the bioeconomy and circular economy?
Well, we have, of course, hundreds of years of experience in bioeconomy in general. But I would say that it has to come from the education. I mean, we are innovative not because we've got a hat on that says that we're innovative. Right. We have ideas because of our education. It's an interesting anecdote, actually. I was to China a few years ago, and there was the head of world's largest dissolving pulp producer, which dissolving pulp is used to replace cotton or in general in textiles. So he asked me, can I give the name or name as many Chinese brand names as you can? And I came with 3. Okay. And he listed 15 of Finnish brands. So, I mean, it gives you kind of like an idea that people with 5 million people or so, I mean, we don't make these brands because it's funny. I mean, it's due to education.
I think as a foreigner here, coming from Arizona where it's a concrete jungle, you know, with all the nature here, I feel like part of that is your tie to nature and the wide availability that you have there. You sort of honor nature, as I've seen, and that's ties into this.
We don't have the natural resources. It's a good thing we don't have oil in Finland. I mean, otherwise, we have to be innovative from what we've got.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Larry. That was very insightful. Appreciate it. And
yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. So that is a wrap, everyone, on our Webstable. We so appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much. And from everyone here at Shift, we wish you a safe and very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.